adventure with the highest possible stakes. Every moment is memorable, heartbreaking in its fleeting beauty. When he falls in love, a man who once felt disoriented, alienated, and confused finally knows exactly what he wants. Suddenly his existence makes sense to him. It becomes valuable, even glorious and noble. Love even poses a threat to our society itself. Passionate love is ignored and feared by the bourgeois, for it poses a great danger to the stability and pretense they covert. Love permits no lies, no falsehoods, not even any polite half-truths, but lays all emotions bare and reveals secrets which domesticated men and women cannot bear. You cannot lie with your emotional and sexual response. Situations or ideas excite or repel you whether you like it or not, whether it is polite or not, whether it is advisable or not. You cannot be a lover and a dreadfully responsible, dreadfully respectable member of today's society at the same time. Love makes it possible for individuals to connect to others in a meaningful way. It impels them to leave their shelves and risk being honest and spontaneous together, to come to know each other in profound ways. Thus, love makes it possible for us to care about each other genuinely, rather than at the end of a gun of Christian doctrine. But at the same time, it plucks the lover out of the routines, a million miles away from the herd of humanity, living as she is in a world entirely different from theirs. In this sense, love is subversive, because it poses a threat to the established order to our modern lives. The boring rituals of workday productivity and socialized etiquette no longer mean anything to a man who has fallen in love, for there are more important forces guiding him than mere inertia and deference to tradition. Marketing strategies that depend upon apathy or insecurity have no effect upon him. Entertainment designed for passive consumption, which depends upon exhaustion or cynicism, can no longer interest him. There is no place for the passionate, romantic lover in today's world, business or private, for he can see that it might be more worthwhile to hitchhike to Alaska or to sit in the park and watch the clouds sail by with his sweetheart than to study for his calculus exam or sell real estate. And if he decides that it is, he will have the courage to do it rather than be tormented by unsatisfied longing. He knows that breaking into a cemetery and making love under the stars will make for a more memorable night than watching television ever could. So love poses a threat to our consumer-driven economy, which depends upon consumption. Similarly, love poses a threat to our political system, for it is difficult to convince a man who has a lot to live for in his personal relationships to be willing to fight and die for an abstraction such as the state. For that matter, it may be difficult to convince him to even pay taxes. It poses a threat to cultures of all kinds, for when human beings are given wisdom and valor by true love, they will not be held back by traditions or customs which are irrelevant to the feelings that guide them. Love does indeed pose quite a threat to our society. What if everyone decided right and wrong for themselves without any regard for conventional morality? What if everyone did whatever they wanted to with the courage to face any consequences? What if everyone feared loveless, lifeless monotony more than they fear taking risks, more than they fear being hungry or cold or in danger? What if everyone set down their responsibilities and common sense and dared to pursue their wildest dreams, to set the stakes high and live each day as if it were their last? Think what a place the world would be. Certainly it would be different than it is now, and it is quite a truism that people from the mainstream, the simultaneous keeper and victims of the status quo, fear change. We must fight against these cultural restraints that would cripple and smother our desires. For it is love that gives meaning to life, desires that make it possible for us to make sense of our existence and find purpose in our lives. Without these, there is no way for us to determine how to live our lives, except to submit to some authority, to some God, master, or doctrine that will tell us what to do and how to do it, without ever giving us the satisfaction that self-determination does. So, despite the stereotyped images used in the media to sell toothpaste and honeymoon sweets, genuine passionate love is discouraged in our culture. Being carried away by our emotions is frowned upon. Instead, we are raised to always be on our guard, lest our hearts lead us astray, rather than being encouraged to have the courage to face the consequences of risks at all, to be responsible. And love itself is regulated. Men must not fall in love with other men, nor women with other women, nor individuals from different ethnic backgrounds with each other, or else the usual bigots who from the front line offensive in the assault of modern Western culture upon the individual will step in. Men and women who have already entered into a legal, religious contract are not to fall in love with anyone else, even if they no longer feel any passion for their marital partners. Love, as most of us know it today, is a carefully prescribed and preordained ritual, something that happens on Friday nights in expensive movie theaters and restaurants, something that fills the pockets of shareholders in the entertainment industries without preventing workers from showing up to the office on time and ready to reroute phone calls all day long. This regulated commercial love is not like the burning fire that consumes the genuine lover. Restrictions, expectations, and regulations smother true love, for love is a wildflower that can never grow within the confines prepared for it, but only appears where it is least expected. The lover speaks a different moral and emotional language than the typical bourgeois man does. The average bourgeois man has no overwhelming, smoldering desires. Sadly, all he knows is the silent despair that comes of spending his life pursuing goals set for him by his educators, his family, his employers, his nation, and his culture. True love is irresponsible, rebellious, scornful of cowardice, dangerous to the lover and everyone around her, for it serves one master alone, the passion that makes the heart beat faster. It disdains anything else but its self-preservation, duty, or shame. Love urges men and women to heroism and to anti-heroism, to indefensible acts that need no defense for the one who loves.
Drown my beliefs hopes and curves. Thank you, everybody. Good night.